a quickish video on apples and cooking them. These are cooking apples. You can't eat them unless you cook them and put sugar on them because they're a little bit sour. It's apple season, so there's lots of apples about, so this is a video on, I find, the easiest, best, quickest way to cook apples with a little fuss. So, peel the apples first, like this. Now they do go brown quickly, do apples. These type of apples do anyway. I'm not entirely sure what type of variety they are, because they were given to me by my next door neighbour. Well, my mum's next door neighbour, but same old. So, peel them all first. Because they're going to go brown, you want as little surface area shown as possible, because it's down to oxidization. So what you can do is you can peel them, and you can chop them, and you can chop them smaller, and you can peel them, you can core them, and then chop them smaller, and then do the next apple, and then the next apple, and then the next apple. But what you'll find is, because you've got more surface area in the air for longer, then the ones that you first do will go brown quite quickly. So what we do is we peel first, and then we're going to core and chop and then cook, and that's the best way. This way, if you're relatively fast, you don't have to mess around with putting them in water, which slows down the browning, or like a little bit of water with lemon juice in, or some kind of citric acid. That slows it down, but if you do it quickly enough, you don't really have to do that, and I kind of think it's a bit of a waste of a lemon, and it's more washing up, and it's more faffing around. So we're going to peel, going round. We'll take those bits are fine. We'll just whip those off before we start chopping. And because we're going to core them, I'm going to use a knife. You can buy corers, but why buy something when you can just use a knife, which you've got in your cupboard anyway. So that there, taking the rough bits off, just peel that away. You can chop it away, it's just the peeler takes less off. So peelings to one side. You can put them peelings on the compost, they are fine. You just have to be careful that any kind of fruit that you put in the compost tends to attract wasps and flies. So if you're going to put them on the compost, I would put them on the compost and then put something on top of them, and they'll stop the wasps getting at them. Unless you want to feed the wasps, that's fine. So next we cut them into quarters, and then we core them. So we tick off that little bit there, we dig down with a knife and up, and then take that bit off there. So it's like that. There. A little bit of that bit inside is fine, just get rid of that. I am going to cook them, and I'm going to freeze them today instead of preserving them in jars, because I've got some space in the freezer, and a freezer works better if it's full. So what I'll do is I'll freeze it, and then if I need some space in the freezer, I can always pull it out later and put it in preserving jars. I'm going to run out of things to talk about while I'm doing these. Slightly miscalculated, but that's fine. So that's that. I'm not going to sweeten them. It's going to take up more. I think once you've added sugar to something, you can't take it away. So I'm going to leave it just plain apple puree, and then I can decide what I want to do with it later. Whereas if I just added sugar to it, then that's it. It's going to be for sweet use and sweet use only. So that's fine. So then, as you can see, probably, they're starting to go brown already where they're coming in contact with the air. So you need to be quick. So slice. The smaller you slice something, the quicker it's going to cook. However, with apples like this, the more you slice them and the more flesh that is in contact with the air, the quicker they are going to go brown. So it doesn't have to be too uniform. They're going to steam. I'm going to cook them in the microwave instead of in a pan. So they're going to steam, so we don't need to add any water. We just need to cover them and put them in the microwave. And I'm going to be on full power, whatever wattage your microwave is, full power. I'm going to put them on for 5 minutes. If I was going to add sugar, I would add it now and I would mix it in. but I'm not going to add the sugar. So at this moment, as soon as I finish this last apple, that's when I'd add the sugar, and I'd add a little bit, and then I'd cook it, and then if I needed to add some more sugar, I would taste it and then add a bit more and stir it in while it's still warm, and then that will melt the sugar. But I'm not going to, so that's fine. So that was relatively quickly, and they haven't gone brown, so that's okay. So that's that, those out of the way. You can use plastic wrap, cling film, that type of thing, but I'm very aware of plastic waste these days, so I'm going to use a plate. I'm going to put the plate on top. It's fine. There's obviously it's going to cook down, so that'll shrink, and then the plate will shrink with it, which is fine. But that's what we're going to do. So I'll pause the video, and then we'll come back after 5 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like after 5 minutes. Right, so it's had the first 5 minutes. We'll take it's hot because obviously microwaves work through agitating water molecules within things, and that's how they cook things. So it's like a vibration, and it agitates them, and then it causes steam within things, and that's how things in microwaves cooks. If you didn't know, but there we go. So it might be a bit steamy. So as you can see there, the apples start to break down. So we'll give it a quick stir. Managed to keep the colour pretty well because we didn't do a big batch of too much. What I do is I do it in the microwave, and you can just walk away. Whereas if you cook things in a pan, you have to add some water, and then you have to watch it and stir it. Whereas if you do things in the microwave, a microwave is not going to burn anything because it's as long as there's liquid in there, it's not going to burn. So I can do the first batch, do my apples, put them in the microwave, start them cooking, and then I can do another batch while I'm waiting for that batch in the microwave to cook. So it's like a process, and you're not wasting any time. Whereas I kind of standing over a pan, stirring it, make sure it doesn't catch, is a bit time consuming, and then you've got to watch the pan, and it's just a bit of faff. Where this is generally kind of quite an easy way, and it's like a production line. So you peel one batch, cook them. While that's cooking, you peel the next batch ready to go, and it kind of works. So you're constantly working like a time and motion thing, in the same way as with the apples, that you peel them all first because you've got your peeler in your hand, and then you quarter them because you've got your knife in your hand, and then you take the cores out of them all together, and then you slice them, and it's like a time and motion, so you're not actually wasting anything. Whereas if you peel something and then you put that down, you pick up your knife, and then you quarter them, and then you take the cores out of them and then slice them. It's not particularly a very good method of doing things, and you kind of waste time. So they need a little bit more cooking, so we'll put them, because they're nice and hot now, they won't take much more, so I reckon 3 minutes, and then they should be done. So we'll pause, and we'll come back after 3 minutes. Right, so the 3 minutes is up, so the apples should be ready. And they've just exploded a little bit in there, but as you can see now, all completely cooked and ready to do whatever you want to do with them. So if I had sugared them, because I wanted it sweet, I would taste now, and then if it needed a bit more sugar, I would add a little bit more sugar. Because as always, it is easier to add a little bit more than take anything away. This method only, well, I'm going to say only, because I've never, for my knowledge, it's never worked with eating apples. This only works with cooking apples because they tend to break down. I don't know why. I've never tried it with eating apples. This only but it probably will work with some varieties. But this is for cooking apples, and I found it to be the best method. So from that, I'm going to let it cool down, and then chill it, and then I'll put it in the freezer, and then I'll be able to use it whenever I want. And that's it. When I've got lots of cooking apples, that's what I do with them. I do other things, but I find that to be the best method of prepping them and cooking them. And I think that's it for now. I think maybe I might add another video later on, but there we go. That's it, and that's it. I'm sure, probably, maybe not.